Hello, it's Philly from the Ending Body Burnout Show. Before we get into today's episode, just want to do a quick announcement that doors are open for our Ending Body Burnout method. We only open doors a few times a year, and right now they are open until the 29th of August. So if you're keen to finally get to the root cause of your body burnout and heal your whole self, or bodies of yourself for lasting results, then go down to the show notes, apply to secure a spot in our Ending Body Burnout method. FYI, this is the last chance to get in on our hugely discounted beta prices. Next time doors open, which will be late November, prices will double because we are that confident in the results that we are getting for our clients. So also as part of launch week, we are running a 3-day live Beating Body Burnout and Perfectionism event. So that is completely free. We're kicking that off next week. So go down to the show notes and register for that one. You definitely don't want to miss the 3-day live event. You're going to get Chris and I eyeballs on your cases, coaching, helping you to identify the deepest root cause of your body burnout and create a really implementable action plan to heal your body.
Hello and welcome to the Ending Body Burnout Show. We're your hosts, Chris and Philly, co-founders of multi-award-winning functional medicine practice, serving busy people with energy, mood, and gut issues.
While busyness, overworking, addictive doing, and perfectionism might be the norm, it's not normal, and it's a major contributor to health issues.
Our goal with this show is to give you a holistic root cause approach to healing your body so that you don't have to continue doctor or diet hopping or popping a gazillion supplements hoping something might stick.
So get ready to heal your body, get your spark back, deeply connect with yourself, and step into the life of your dreams. Let's dive in. So today on the podcast, Chris and I spoke to the beautiful Laini Oldfield. You guys are going to love her. Laini is a mum of 5 and founder of Stacked Blends Co. and the No Fuss Nourished method. So she's coached tens of thousands of people on how to harness the power of nutrition to feel amazing through her flagship free challenges, the Whole Food My Family, the Supercharged Smoothie Bootcamp, which is running at the end of August, and the Fiber Challenge. So Laini has a particular love for helping parents learn easy ways to get their kids eating healthier. I think we all want to learn a bit of that without them even knowing. Through her monthly coaching membership, she has unconventional smoothies are Laini's obsession, and she's developed her own range of smoothie booster blends designed to target specific health goals and provide a complete and balanced meal with maximum nutrition, as well as lots of other whole food blends to make life easier. When she's not with her own family or coaching other families, you'll probably find her at the beach. I know that you're absolutely going to love Laini. We've known Laini for a long time. I was a long time fangirl through socials until I met her in person last year, which was super exciting. She shares vulnerably her own body burnout story, which she is still navigating, and we get into the nitty-gritties of using food as medicine, and we will be chatting about all things smoothies and healing the body with food. So I'm so excited to share this episode with you.
All right. Well, thanks, Laini, for coming on to the Ending Body Burnout Show. Pretty stoked to have you on. You're a good friend of ours, and
we love you.
Oh, I love you guys too.
Actually, no. To be here. I was going to say I was definitely a fangirl before I actually met you for real, whereas Chris grew up with you kind of when you were older, growing up.
Wow, yeah. So we lived sort of near each other.
Yeah. But
mixed in mutual circles and all that sort of stuff.
Did.
Yeah.
My husband Jordan was friends with you. I remember a basketball road trip you guys took down to Melbourne.
Oh, yeah. Oh, so George, Laini, your husband, and I, we would hoop it up. We're good basketball buddies, and then good buddies off the court as well.
Yeah, so good.
But we're stoked to have you on. We share a common interest in nutrition and health, so it's going to be fun to dive into some questions, getting to know you a bit more. But maybe before we ask questions, I guess the first question could be, tell us more about you so our listeners can know why we like you so much.
All right, so my name's Laini. With my husband Jordan, we have 5 kids. We live here on the Sunshine Coast in Queensland, and you're going to hear a lot about my personal story today. So I kind of feel like you're going to get to know me as we go along.
Yeah, well, let's just dive.
And to be honest, I heard this podcast. What is her name? She has millions of followers. She's the speaker on vulnerability. And everyone knows who she is. Who is it?
Brené Brown.
That's her. I was listening to a talk by her the other day, and she said that after her very first talk on vulnerability, she had this post-vulnerability crash the next day where she just regretted everything she said. And I feel like I may have one of those tomorrow, but I do feel like this message needs to be shared. And if I can be part of that, then fantastic.
Sounds
so good. That is one thing that I love about you. You're just real and authentic when you show up to the world. So let's dive into your personal story then. So our podcast is all about ending body burnout, and I think you've had your own experience, hey?
Yes, I have.
Tell us more.
All right. So sorry, I'll jump straight in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Go bomb dive.
All right. So I guess as a little bit of an introduction, I guess the way that I got into nutrition and whole foods and using food as medicine was basically when our kids were born. And I think that's a pretty common story for parents when they start cleaning up what they eat. It's because they can see that they want the food that they're feeding their kids to actually contribute to their health rather than damage it. So, we were on a pretty tight budget at the time. I was a stay-at-home mum. Jordan was a full-time student. And so we got pretty creative with our income, and we had students renting a granny flat downstairs and all sorts of things. One of the creative ways that we've made more room in the budget was I bought we'd buy in bulk, and I kind of took that next level. And I arranged for a literal ton of coconut oil to be imported from Sri Lanka. And I think that, you guys will probably see that as a little bit of a red flag of my tendencies and a bit of a foreshadowing of what's to come in our conversation. But I kind of, when I do something, I go all in. And so, of course, you can't go through a ton of coconut oil. So I put the word out, and people would join the buying group and, source their coconut oil from me. And it was kind of then that our business was born. And that business was like this online community of people who would access high quality food for less. We don't have that business anymore. It's not a plug, but we added more products to the range and then built a website. And, pretty soon we ran like a monthly co-op from our garage with a baby strapped to my chest as we'd pack orders. And honestly, I was just learning as I was running. I didn't understand much about the importance of organic food or our, the additives and chemical inputs into our food. It was actually our customers who would ultimately teach me all of this because of the products that they would request. They would choose things like sulfur-free apricots or vegetable oil-free sultanas, and I'd have to research, why do they want this? And I'd be learning on the run. And so what happens when you do that enough is that you build enough knowledge that actually drives you to make more nutritious choices, I guess. Yeah. And so eventually, as we grew, we engaged this panel of renowned experts on the fields of, toxins and gut health and additives. And it became almost a daily practice to consult them on, this ingredient. We'd have suppliers approaching us saying, hey, can we sell our product on your store? And I'd approach them and say, look, these are the ingredients. What do you think? We'd look at spec sheets. We'd talk to the manufacturer. We'd do all this stuff. And it would just blow my mind. The greenwashing that was happening in the health industry, these health products that would be marketed had all these healthy sounding names like rosemary extract and all these like lovely natural flavors, all these things that people, well-meaning mums and dads, are buying for their family, thinking that they're, doing the best they can for their family. And it just kind of created this drive in me to bring awareness so that people could make informed choices. I'm not about perfection. Like, yes, I will still sometimes have foods that have additives or rosemary extract, but at least I know when I'm eating it and therefore can manage our toxic load, so to speak, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I've also got a mum who suffers with a range of chronic diseases and metabolic functions, conditions. And she struggles with everyday tasks, but still manages to be an amazing mum and grandma. But watching her has given me some motivation to break a bit of a family cycle in many ways. We've also had some success stories with our own family using food and herbal medicines to heal. One of our kids was debilitated with anxiety to the point where she couldn't attend school for more than 2 hours a day. And then we employed this functional food diet and therapeutic diet and functional medicines to heal her within 6 weeks, although we did continue to work on her gut health for a year. But it's this kind of stuff that just wakes you up and goes, oh my gosh, like we can change our ways. It's not that hard. And look at the results. Like we can avoid this, chronic disease, feeling crappy and just feeling meh, or we can embrace the power of food and actually make some massive headway in the way that we feel day to day, but also avoiding the sickness and disease that, stats of our health of us, health in society right now, we can see that more and more people than ever are experiencing these horrific, health conditions. And, it's pretty clear the reason for that. One of the reasons for that is our food. And so we can use our food for good and our progression, or we can, by default, use our food to, it can hinder us.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm passionate about food.
Boom.
Yeah, that was my entry into healing myself and natural therapies as well. I remember I read a book called Deep Nutrition, and it was all about you can eat real food and heal your body. Or you can eat lots of processed foods and get cancer and other things. And I'm like, I think I know which one I'm going to choose.
Yes. And it really is a choice. It's a choice that we have every single day of our life.
Yeah. Okay, so you got into this, felt awesome, doing food as medicine. Then what happened?
Okay, so there was a moment in time where the only way I can explain it is that I felt like my brain broke. So I'll tell you the story of that. Throwing myself into basically obsessing over growing this, community of people who can access this quality food and bring awareness to people and education. I was all in. And like I said, I don't do things in halves. And I was so driven and passionate that having quite a few children and, I was still having babies at this point. I think I had baby number 4 as it was starting, and then baby number 5 as it was kind of coming on. It was after baby number 5. I remember getting up at like 2:33 in the morning to feed her and then going, oh, well, she's back in bed. I've got a few hours. I'll just stay up and I'll just work on my laptop until the kids wake up for breakfast. And I fell into that habit for years. And every single waking moment that I wasn't with the kids, I was on my laptop. And the only work-life balance I had was the balance that having kids by virtue brings you because they need you and they want you. And I was actually so blessed to have that break and that balance, even though we all know as parents that as fulfilling and beautiful as motherhood and parenthood is, it's also incredibly demanding and stressful at times as well. So it was like this constant I was just living on adrenaline all the time. I remember I was comfortable in adrenaline. That's where I sat. That was my set point. And I could feel it in my body. I was racing all the time and I was always late for everything. That was just who I was. I was just run, go all the time. Self-care had basically stopped. I was always very active and sporty, but as time went on, I just prioritized the business over exercise. That was that morning time before the kids woke up used to be the time that, you go and enjoy a walk or a run or go to the gym. But no, that was my time to work. So that's what I did. My spiritual habits, I basically all but given those up. My relationship with my husband suffered. I remember him saying to me, I feel like I need to compete with the business for your attention. And like that went on for quite some time. Our finances were nowhere positive because, being a social worker by profession before having kids, I just was so focused on selling products as low as I could to get them into as many hands as I could. I just, I wasn't a business person. I was a social worker. And so looking back, I can see how this all happened. So one day I was at my laptop, had been there for hours. The kids woke up. I put down the laptop. And by the way, that morning I was fine. I was like slamming emails out. I was, power mode, getting done. No indication of anything negative. Closed the laptop, went out to the kitchen. We had been making porridge for the kids for breakfast every morning for like a decade at this point. And I could make porridge with like one hand tied behind my back and blindfolded. It was something that I could do, very easily. But this day I stood in that kitchen and I could not remember, I couldn't figure out how to make porridge. And it was quite scary. It was like my brain broke. It was that moment that I thought, oh my gosh, like what is happening to me? That was the very first indication to me that stress was playing a really large role in my life, but it was going to be years to come before I truly felt the full impact of what stress would do to me.
Can I just say, super resilient body that your body allowed you to continue going for years on that amount of sleep. That's like badge of honor.
Yeah, and honestly, as you'll hear me say, I'm sure later, that I don't believe that eating a nutritious diet can fix the stress in your life. I don't believe that anymore. I used to. But yeah, back then, like I really do see that having nutrition in my life helped me cope far better than I ever would have had I not, for longer.
Yeah.
But ultimately, stress had its way with me. Not just, there's no escaping it, really.
Yeah. So what happened then, like in terms of physical or mental symptoms? So brain broke, couldn't remember how to do porridge.
Yeah.
Continued going along like that for a while.
And I did. Like I remember having, like a one-off consult with someone who gave me some great advice. She said, Laini, get more sleep, eat more good fats, eat more protein, buy these supplements and see how you go. Didn't have the money for the supplements, so I just did the sleep and the good fats and the protein, and I felt so much better. So I thought, I'm fixed. Let's go back to what I was doing.
Next minute, body's unconscious state is like, no.
Oh my
I
gosh.
love you. I love you for feeding you all those good foods, but this is not the route.
Nope.
So what symptoms did you have? Like, so that there was a brain broke.
Yeah.
And then what?
So symptoms,
other things?
let's list them off. So there's obviously some gut imbalances because I would bloat to the point where people would confidently ask me about when the baby was due.
Awkward.
And we know that stress causes, gut permeability and, inflammation of the gut. Like that's all pretty straightforward. Stress can do this stuff. Adrenal fatigue. I got a hormone test and I feel like you've seen that hormone test. My adrenal, I don't know if you remember what you said to me, but when you saw the levels of like the extent of my adrenal fatigue, you were like, Laini, like you need to go back on all that stuff.
Oh yeah,
Like,
that amount of time was not going to fix that.
So I had adrenal fatigue, which also meant my immune system was compromised. So I couldn't exercise. I remember I went back to the gym at some point and I couldn't go 2 weeks at the gym without crashing sick. I would become sick for 2 weeks. So I'd go to the gym for 2 weeks. I'd be sick for 2 weeks. Go to the gym for 2 weeks. It would just cycle. And I actually became a little bit afraid of exercise at that point because it would make me sick. My liver is clearly, congested because cortisol just doesn't, as you guys could speak to this far more than I could, but cortisol doesn't just disappear. Your liver actually has to process it. And when there's too much cortisol, your liver gets congested and creates more LDL cholesterol than what's ideal, which is showing in my blood test, by the way. And so, it's not just our nutrition choices that can cause all these horrible downstream effects. Estrogen dominance was another one. I remember having my hormone test, picked apart And I remember I was asked, what does random rage mean to you, Laini? I said, oh, what do you mean random rage? She said, well, the estrogen hormone that's responsible for random rage is like off the chart. Like you cannot measure it on you. And I kind of just laughed it off. And then we went back to my kids one by one, and I just jokingly said, I just told them about, I've got this hormone that's, off the charts, just, random rage. And they just kind of looked at me. I was expecting them to laugh, but they looked at me and they said, oh, well, that makes sense, Mum. And, each of them kind of having that response one by one apart from each other kind of was a little bit of an eye-opening moment for me, because I didn't really see it. I just didn't see it. So the estrogen dominance, obviously has this, all these other effects in the body. My nervous system is on edge. I'm the running joke in my family because I jump and I scream at the smallest little things, and they play jokes on me just for a laugh. Like they'll hide in cupboards and I'll open the door and I will scream so loud and for so long that it's just hilarious to them. I remember we went on a holiday to Byron Bay kind of recently, which is what happened is an indication to me that I actually need to continue to work on all the tools that I built for addressing the hormone balance. But I remember opening the laundry door to do some washing, and there was a cleaner in there that I wasn't expecting to see. And I screamed, like I said, so loud and for so long, she became really scared. And then once I eventually stopped, we just all were in hysterics, and she was there almost crying, going, what on earth is going on? And I had to explain to her, look, I'm a screamer. And it was just, everybody, it just kind of does this for a joke, for me all the time. But I've had to actually put a stop to it so that I can maintain some parasympathetic
calm down the system
for a bit longer. But so that's kind of the state of my emotions and my nervous system. And like I was kind of just all over the place. And now, even though my blood tests are coming back clear, like I'm fairly certain with some guidance of yourself and my chiropractor, et cetera, that I probably have, I'm looking at an autoimmune disease, Hashimoto's thyroiditis. And it's, I've gained a bit of weight. I'm not able to move through life as easily as I once did and as I enjoy, so even though the blood tests are clear, symptomatically the shoe fits. And, I'm obviously going to be working with you to address that and look at it and confirm it, all the rest of it. But, we know that cortisol, blocks the signaling of thyroid hormones and also the conversion of those thyroid hormones in the liver. Correct me if I'm wrong, Philly. That stops us burning belly fat, and it stops us, it down regulates metabolism and all these things. And so the science behind like how stress actually impacts all of these different areas and how one can then cause another, like stress can cause the leaky gut originally, sure, but then it caused the estrogen dominance, it caused the liver congestion, it caused the adrenal fatigue, it caused the thyroid issues. It just goes on and on. And it can become, basically now I realize I'm in a bit of a health crisis, like just call it for what it is, because of stress. Like how mind-blowing is that?
Crazy. Thank you so much for just sharing all that.
Yeah. It's not, if it helps someone else avoid stress, then all the better. But you know what? I know it sounds ridiculously corny, but I am actually quite grateful for all these tests that show me where my body's at. I'm grateful for the evidence that my body's showing me that I'm in that health crisis because unfortunately, I'm not someone who has historically listened to my body clearly. Your body's always talking to you. We don't often, listen until it's yelling at us so hard that we can't help but give it the attention that it needs. And that's, that's my situation. It was my brain breaking originally, but even then I only listened for a short time. And then it was some years later that, it's calling for my attention again. And without the data of that hormone test and the adrenals, showing me black and white on paper, on screen, I'm someone who probably would have just kept pushing through, never finding a concrete enough reason to connect the dots and finally put myself first or even know what I needed. And that's why you guys harp on all the time about functional testing, right?
I was just going to say, isn't it nice to hit a wall sometimes? The the blessing, the double-edged sword, you know, the good side, bad side. We hit this wall. We just go bang, smack, and it hurts, and it's irritating, it's frustrating, it's hurtful, it's stressful. It can cause broken bones, broken body systems, broken relationships, all that sort of stuff when we burn out. But if we didn't, we'd just be doing the same thing over and over again. It's like our bodies have this beautiful way of just putting their foot down like a toddler, just going, nope, I'm not doing it anymore. Your brain's broken. And we just like break down. We burn out and there's no moving. So,
yeah,
and
that's such a
beautiful.
great way. It's such a great way of putting it. I often look back at those days of ignoring myself, thinking that I could push through and stress would, you know, I was invincible. I kind of look at it like a teenager's brain. You know how teenagers, you know, they don't have this fully developed prefrontal cortex that helps them, you know, balance risk to reward. And I felt like I was like a teenager, just feeling invincible, feeling like I could somehow just push through and be immune to what, you see other people falling down, like, oh, that's not going to happen to me. You know, that's so foolish. But, you know, that's what it is. And, you know, we all have these lessons in life. And I feel like this is a very, very, very big lesson of mine in life that's taken me a number of years to finally grasp and make some, you know, draw a line in the sand and actually reclaim myself. Like, it really is a gift.
Well, you know what? I reckon it was like a 10-year journey. A 10-year journey from first. So I had three major body burnout episodes. First one focused on food, and that got me so far, and I felt pretty good. Had another baby, things fell apart again, functional medicine, testing, supplements, all that sort of stuff. But then COVID hit, and I had my third one. And by then I'm like, I know all the things. I've been doing all the things. I've been, you know, I was like kind of frustrated, but I also thought, well, I've solved it twice. I can solve it again. But this time, like, all my things in my toolkit in terms of all the physical healing stuff, it wasn't enough. Like, it was almost just like my body was like, you know, you haven't quite learned the lesson yet. I love you. I appreciate you for nourishing your body and, you know, trying to find some more work-life balance. But it was, I think that's something you said, it was finding yourself. Finding yourself? I think you said that. And that
I
was...
don't remember saying it, but I probably did.
And that was like a deeper root for me, was that I just like did not, like, there was a disconnection with myself, or my unconscious state is another way of saying that, where I wasn't listening. I was listening to the pain, trying to solve it at the level I thought it needed to be solved, but my body was like, nah, I keep giving you those symptoms and we're going to go all the way this time.
That's why I love what you guys do, because you talk about the root cause. You know, you could say that the root cause of my current health condition is stress, but you guys would probably say, no, stress isn't the root cause of your problems. What is actually causing your stress?
What do you think, Laini?
Oh,
the root. You're welcome to pass on any questions.
Honestly, I feel like that could be an entirely new podcast where you guys could like help me dissect all of that. But for right now, I am focusing on really like stress being the arch nemesis, and really just doing everything I can to rid myself of that. Because let's take the thyroid issue, if that's my issue, for example. You can get a thyroid issue from stress, or you could get a thyroid issue from a nutritional deficiency of selenium or iron or iodine. And so if I then just, you know, supplement with those nutrients, but stress is what got me there, that's not going to fix the issue. We fix the issue, like whatever the way in was, that's the way out. And so I can clearly see that, you know, stress is the way out for me. And although there are things that I need to do to support all my systems in my body through supplements and specific foods, etc., and lifestyle, stress is where it's at for me. And so that's my focus. And actually, I'd love to do a little call with you guys to do the root cause of stress. I probably would benefit from that.
That'd be fun.
I'll share it. I'll share a story with someone we are working with a thyroid condition, autoimmunity, and she, poor dear, had seen so many practitioners, all the tests, all the supplements, all the diets. Nothing changed at all with her symptoms. Like, body still in pain. Her main symptom was just like this chronic inflammation in her body and anxiety. And then anyway, so like, well, let's not reinvent the wheel here. Let's look at it in a different way. And whilst like stress, so it's like stress, like people know what stress is. And so that's where it's like, okay, well, that's the root cause, but stress is only ever internal, not external. Mm-hmm. And so the crazy thing was when we uncovered this deeper, and when it's internal, it's always a belief about yourself. Like there's always some sort of not nice belief that you have about yourself, and then your unconscious state is like, I don't like living in this space, this world, this body. If you upstairs don't even know who I am downstairs and we need to sort this out. So anyway, a lot of discovery work, but a deeper belief around being, I can't even remember. I think it was being a failure or something. The moment she discovered that, for a whole 6 weeks, no pain at all. And that was 6 years of chronic pain every day.
Wow.
And I say 6 weeks because then stuff happened again and she had to like, all right, we got to like learn how to rebuild rapport with self so that then the pain could stay off forever.
That is incredible. Incredible. We are just so connected. Like we can't segment parts of our body and just treat them individually.
Yeah. It's like we're not just physical body, mental. We're a mental, emotional, psychological, unconscious, energetic, spiritual, and it's all connected.
My favorite.
So did you want? I'll go on, Chris.
Oh no, you go. I've got my favorite's not going anywhere. You go.
Do you want to know the nitty gritty of what I'm actually doing to address the stress?
Go for it.
Yeah.
All right. So the great thing about addressing stress is that really it's largely free, right? It's not like we have to go and buy all these things. And, you know, it sounds cliche, but the biggest thing that I have discovered about stress is breath work. And I'm not doing any fancy breath work. I'm using driving in the car as my trigger. So I think with any new habit, we need to attach it to a trigger, right? Otherwise we forget or it just doesn't happen. So every time I get into my car, that's my trigger to do my breath work. And all it is just breathing in for 4, out for 8, 20 times, you know, or as many times as I can. And, you know, extending the length of our exhale, as you guys know, is like a scientifically proven way to reduce the stress response in our body. And so being a mum, I'm in the car multiple times a day, sometimes 10 times a day, like, you know what it's like. And so I'm dipping into that parasympathetic state multiple times a day and retraining basically my neural pathways out of that habitual stress state. So that's been a huge part of reducing the stress in my life. But I've also had to basically ruthlessly place me as number one in my life. And I know that that's easier said than done. I've realized that I'm a project-based person. Like I do really well with projects. I can say that I'm going to prioritize myself till the cows come home. But then as soon as some urgent thing comes up, as they do every single day, I can very easily put myself down the list. But then just kid myself by saying, tomorrow I'll do it. So now it's Project Laini time. It's time. Yeah. I love it too.
Project Laini. That's so good.
And like that is ruthlessly number one priority in my life. And so every day there's a number of things that I'm doing that I know is bringing me back into a state of balance and healing and de-stressing. You know, beautiful. Nutrition's part of it, obviously. You know, thankfully I already had some great habits nutritionally, but of course, you know, with functional food, you can always choose particular foods to serve particular purposes in your body. So, you know, I'm adding things like adaptogens that help you cope with stress, you know, into my morning smoothie, for example, or, you know, I'm adding more cruciferous veg or organic soy-based products to address, you know, hormonal balance and the liver. And, you know, there are things you can do that optimize the response in your body according to the foods that you eat. Like even just something as simple as the plain old seed. Like if you have, I think it's 23 grams of mixed seeds a day, like sunflower seeds, pepitas, it's not hard, linseeds, chia seeds. It drastically slashes the inflammation in your body over a short 3-month period. Like there are some simple things you can just throw into your smoothie or eat on the run. Like it's easy stuff that's accessible that we can really use to our advantage and benefit.
Yeah.
And then of course there's, the supplements that Philly has recommended for me. They always will play a role. And I know that they are so integral to healing and balance because I've seen like physical evidence. Like even when I wasn't changing anything in my diet and I was just doing some supplements, I saw physical evidence of my hormone health improving. And telling what that is might be too much information for your audience, but there's there's evidence that you can see that actually things are progressing.
So good. Now let's switch focus because I want to talk about what your business is now, which is Stacked Whole Foods.
Okay.
Because can I just say I am a clinical nutritionist, but I think Laini is the person who knows the most about nutrition in the world.
Oh, I don't know about that. Definitely not. I think the more you learn, the more you realize you don't know as well. There's science out there that talks about the power of food. Oh my gosh, like it's mind blowing. And I just think if only our mainstream medicine would embrace, and together combine forces with nutritional medicine, gosh, like how much progress could we make as a society? Like there is some hard evidence out there.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So tell us a bit about new business now, which is not that new. It's kind of
it's more of a pivot.
A pivot. And then also you're talking about seeds and all the lovely things, and I want to talk about smoothies as well because you have a really cool free smoothie challenge coming up in August.
I do.
Yeah.
I do. Okay, so you can tell that my husband and I are passionate foodies and, we believe in the power of food, which means that we also, we're spending a bit of time. Now, let me backtrack. We also know that the number one principle when it comes to thriving gut health is diversity of the whole foods that we're eating, right? It's one thing to have whole foods, but it's a whole nother ball game to have a wide range, a diverse range of these beautiful foods coming in. But that's not always as, can be easy if you know what you're doing. But for a lot of people, they reach for the same old things every day. And so, knowing that we wanted a diverse range of whole foods in, we were, making pancakes and smoothies in the morning, but we were dragging down like 20 jars of different whole foods to kind of make this beautiful, diverse pancake mix and smoothie mix and all the rest of it. And we realized that is just not a sustainable, way to go for the average busy person who's, got work and kids and whatever else. And so we decided to make these diverse, whole food rich blends ready and done for you. So now we have, launched our own range of smoothie blends that target your particular health goals, whatever they might be.
I think I saw Chris having the perimeno one the other day. We have like a few packets in the pantry. I think you just poured one out.
I wanted a smoothie, and there was none of. Oh, what was the other one that we had that we ran out?
Supercharge.
We had Supercharge and hey, I'll go perimeno. I'm man enough to admit that I've had that several times.
So
it's not going to hurt you.
And that's also what I love about the smoothie blends, and you can chat about the other products in a second, but a lot of them are targeted towards different health issues, or, if someone just wants to optimize their immune system or their brain health, you got them covered. So good.
Yeah. And honestly, it's drawing from the science of particular, different things that we're learning every year now about nutritional medicine and incorporating those things in this easy done for you mix that, like you said, it is functional, it's targeted to what you want it to do. And it really does do what you want it to do. Like the feedback we get from people who, take the perimeno one that you were just referring to. We had this lovely
Chris has
lady
boobs. No. Chris is growing boobs.
Pectorals, chiseled nipple holders.
We had this woman who was on it for just a few weeks consistently, and she said that she was on a half serve, and then after a few weeks she was able to actually halve, with consultation of her practitioner, she was able to halve her perimenopause medication that she was on, and she was able to really see an improvement in her PMS symptoms. Like these are like they're real stories that are coming through. We've had another mum wrote in the other day. She said that her son had the boosted chocolate milk in a in a milkshake recipe that I've written up on the website there, and he had stabilized moods. His what did she say? His mood changes were leveled out for that day.
Wow.
There's another lady, she's a nurse and she works really long hours, and she would typically go through and get drive-through or something on the way home because she's so low on energy after a long shift. And after being on the all-rounder, which is the chocolate all-rounder smoothie blend, she said, I just don't need to anymore. Like, I have enough energy to sustain me. And her daughter, has to, what's the word? Like, she kind of just says, I need that chocolate smoothie on tap because I'm convinced that it helps me perform better in my exams. Like there's just like the everyday stories of people coming through that, like, number one feedback is that it actually helps people poop every day.
Mm-hmm.
You know how important that is.
Yeah.
We don't want to get clogged up and have all these toxins circulating around our body.
Yeah.
So it's super heartening and that's what drives us. It helps us keep going. Business life is not easy. Maybe there's some root causes you can talk to me about there, Chris, but there's, this is just so exciting to us. Like, we love to hear those stories coming through of people feeling fantastic. One person said after only a week on our smoothies, she's just feeling so much better in body and mind and energy and digestion. Like, it's just this whole life, like, elevator in a way.
Yeah.
It's, I just love it.
I love it
That's
too.
awesome.
I mean, if any clients are listening to this, they know that, we do lab tests, there are quite a lot of supplements, but the goal is to get off all that stuff and use food to sustain you and support you. And if we can also use food as therapy, then all the more power to you. And then our body just is able to absorb and assimilate the food because we are food. Like, we are what we eat. And so it's the best way that we can really help nourish and restore our systems. So I love it.
Yeah.
And I love you. I love the gravy. I love the gravy one. The gravy is actually probably my favorite.
It's actually difficult to find a gravy that isn't
So
gross,
hard.
full of all the weirdness. It's it was actually voted by Jordan Pye as Australia's #1 gravy mix because it's just so clean. Like, it's just a beautiful gravy mix that tastes amazing. We have guys who come over here and, sometimes we'll have a roast dinner and have leftovers, and they're here at lunchtime. We're like, here, have some lunch. And they're like, what is this? We're like, well, we made it. and it's just very popular. It's a very popular blend.
Yeah. If people don't know Geordie Pye, I don't even know how many followers she has on Instagram, but she's like
A lot.
a million, maybe not that many, but amazing. So I was so excited when I saw your product on her Instagram feed. I'm
So was I.
I'm like, I already knew it, but well done. Well done.
Thank you.
Smoothies are good. I've got this. I think anytime someone's struggling for food, and I'll go through those waves, the S's, smoothies, shakes, salads, soups, slow cooker, stir fry. They all start with S. Makes it like I like simple things, so it's easy to remember. Stick with those, and you probably won't go too far wrong.
No, I love that. And I'm with you. I cannot imagine or think of a breakfast that can pack in as much goodness and make you feel the way a good supercharged smoothie does and only like 1 minute of time in your morning. Like, I can't think of a breakfast that is as convenient and nutritious as a smoothie. Like, I just, sometimes
So
we have it for
good.
dinner and we're like, well, that's okay because it's got all the food groups in there and probably more veggies than you'd get in the dinner anyway. So we're happy with it.
It's filling too. So I don't know if any other guys and girls feel the same way about food as I do, but especially doing sport, walking away from a meal and not feeling fulfilled means I'm going to have to eat soon again. And so traditionally smoothies have been in that boat for me. Like, I need this quick, but now I'm going to have something later on. But I'll tell you what, so adding a blend plus a sneaky extra bit of oats or whatever, like it depends on how hungry I am. Like I'll put all that in. That's good to go. And I'll usually fast and eat until like around 10, 11-ish, kind of not really intermittent fasting, but kind of. And then I'll have my smoothie. Boom. That's good.
He's happy. He's a happy man.
Yeah.
Can you tell us or our listeners a bit more about what's happening in the Supercharged Smoothie Camp and why everyone should join up for it?
Yes. Oh gosh, like it's so much fun. It's a 10-day experience. Each day there's either a short 20-minute video, which will teach you a component of crafting your own functional smoothie that targets your particular health goal. And then the next day is this little micro challenge. And that micro challenge is going to help you get your freezer smoothie ready so that you've got, it's like kind of like having fast food in your freezer that's actually good for you. So you can quickly just grab and go in 1 minute flat and have this amazing breakfast that's going to see you through until your next meal or even beyond for lots of people. And so it's free and it starts on the 28th of August and it's probably maybe the last time we're going to do a live coached version of the boot camp. And then I think we're going to take it evergreen, which means that it's, there's no live coaching component and anyone can jump in at any time. Yeah. So this is like a great chance to jump in and actually get your questions answered. We have Q&As. We've got, little game shows where we give away prizes. We've got lots of fun stuff attached to the education. But a lot of people say that this free education is better than the paid courses they've done. Like we really sink all of our energy into it for that period of time. And we go hard to support people to actually figure out how to flood their body with nutrition in the best way that we know how.
So good. So exciting. So that kicks off on the 28th of August, I believe.
Yes.
And I'll pop in the show notes a link where people can join that.
Beautiful.
And to finish off, what are some last words of wisdom that you could give our listeners, especially those who may be currently struggling with body burnout and want to eat healthy but kind of feel like they have no energy to do it?
Okay. At the risk of sounding like a Maybelline ad, you are worth it.
Woo!
Like feeling better is just around the corner once you decide that you are worth getting it done. And look, even though I'm focused on healing from all these things that stress has caused for me, I can absolutely feel in body and mind that I'm benefiting from the flooding of those nutrients that's being fed to me consistently each day. And just start small. Just tweak one meal of the day. And once that is just a habit and that's part of how you move through your day routinely, then you can look at adding another little tweak to a different meal of the day. This does not need to happen overnight. You do have some time. And in fact, taking time is the most effective way to make sustainable change. So just, you'll be amazed at what you can accomplish by just being gentle on yourself, realizing that you're not going to be perfect at everything straight away. Have a compassionate mind towards yourself with making changes, because I think a lot of people get discouraged because they go gung-ho, they fall off the wagon, they just have a bad day or a bad week and they go, oh, it's all too hard, I can't do it. Just be gentle on yourself, do one thing at a time, remember that you're worth it, and actually just invest in yourself. Like, this is, in my mind, one of the best ways that we can do that. It's the best form of self-care.
I love it. So good. Oh. So good. Well, thank you so much for coming on and sharing with vulnerability everything about you and also smoothies and nutrition. And I know that our listeners are just going to love you if they don't already know you.
Guys.
And I know you're going to love the smoothie camp that's coming up on the 28th of August.
Yes, I would love to get to know you all in the Smoothie Boot Camp for sure. And thank you for having me. I've been loving listening to your podcast. You guys are just such a wealth of wisdom and doing such fantastic things out there for people in Australia and beyond, right? You work with anyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyone.
Anybody.
I just love that there are people like you in the industry who I really, I know your motives. I've known you for a long time. So it's just beautiful to see you out there doing your thing.
Awesome.
Thanks, Laini.
Thank you.
You're awesome. All right, guys. Well, we'll hit pause on this one and we'll see you next time.
Thank you so much for listening. We so appreciate you. If you'd like to give us extra smiles, drop us a review and spread the love by sharing this episode.
You can also rate your own state of burnout and the root cause contributors by taking our Ending Body Burnout assessment on our website. And if you're interested in learning about our group or one-on-one Ending Body Burnout programs, shoot us a DM via Instagram or Facebook. Have the best day ever.